course, I have none of my documents on this screen, but I'm on with this screen. Okay, so I can just have myself share that screen. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. All right, so we are live, folks. Let me get in here, back in here, and minimize that, and go to meeting. Okay. So that. Okay, can I? Alrighty. And let me start recording.
This conference will now be recorded.
I think I got it. Wow, that was fun. Sorry for that. A little technical difficulties here on our end. Let me get things opened up here. All right, so, wow. Welcome to Technical Difficulties 101 and flip-flopping. Big thanks to my wife for having her laptop here that I could use. So I'm going to get rid of that. I'm just sharing my screen. That can be minimized there. Okay, so we are here for the regular board meeting. Jennifer, why don't you take us away?
All right, so you're recording. We're good?
Yes.
All right. The August 2021 meeting of the Board of Commissioners for the SWPRD Parks and Recreation District is called to order.
Let's just confirm we have a quorum here. I just saw Matt and Jennifer. We have Eric. And do we have Josh as well, or do we just have Eric?
Just Eric.
Just Eric. Okay, so we've just got Eric, Jennifer, and Matt. That's a quorum. That's all we need. We can move ahead. All right. I would suggest, since we're having technical difficulties, that we stick with our original plan to hit the high points first now that we're called to order. My understanding is we don't have anybody here from the public, so we can start and go with public comment and move on. I mean, we have Jake Gravet, but Jake Gravet, if you have anything to say, now would be the time.
No, thanks. Hello, and very nice job coordinating the triathlon. I think that's all I have to say right now.
All right. So moving forward, we have some items that we need to get done tonight. We need to do the voucher list approval. We need to do the long-term insurance options, social media archiving discussion and possible approval, and financial institution updates for staff changes. Those are the things we have to get done. So if we want to hit those first in case we lose somebody, the rest of it is all informational.
Okay, so Doug, are there any changes to the voucher list since it was distributed?
I'm working back and forth here, so hold on. Let me pull it up. Okay, let's see here. Let me go up to the top and I'll work my way back down. Okay, so working my way back down here, we have the changes since Friday. John White payroll for an adult softball assistant, so we got his time card in. Water backflow testing for 330.77. Some dog nose work instruction, some tennis instruction, a softball umpire.
No audio on the side.
Can everybody else hear me? I heard Matt.
Yes, Eric can.
Yes, we can hear you good.
Okay. Matt, you can't hear anybody?
Hi, Matt. Can you hear me? Right.
Okay, I could hear Matt, but now I can't. Matt, can you try talking? Okay, Matt might be logging out and logging in. We lost our quorum, so we'll have to wait for a second.
Okay.
How's this for a last board meeting for Peggy?
Well, it's memorable, if nothing else.
Remember,
Oh.
technology is a 4-letter word.
And that's the truth.
Oh my lord. Yeah, I don't know. The laptop. I'm gonna have to figure out what happened because it's like I don't have speakers anymore. It's really strange. But earlier today it was working. So. Alright, still nothing.
Oh, hey guys, I've tried dial back in on the phone instead of PC. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Can you hear us?
I can.
All right. Okay, so we are back at a quorum, and it is now 6:30. So moving through, we were looking through the voucher information. We had an adult soft umpire for $350. We had an invoice for a booster pump repair for $390.41. Mandy Jones for Volley Kids instruction $1680. Kitsap Tractor for a tractor repair for almost $2,700 there, $2697. $180 for an Earth Skills class refund. A notary license for Carrie, getting her set up for $30. Adult Softball League umpire for $280. And that's it right there. So we have a total M&O fund of $171,660.90, and we have a total property fund for August of $4,864. Any questions on the vouchers?
All right, I will entertain a motion to approve the voucher list.
I'll make a motion to approve the vouchers from the M&O fund for a total of $171,660.90, and from the property fund for a total of $4,864.00.
I will second that motion.
Okay, it has been moved and seconded to approve the voucher list for the M&O fund for $171,660.90 and for the property fund for $4,864 even. All those in favor say aye.
Eric, aye.
Matt, aye.
Jennifer, aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes have it and the motion passes. The voucher list is approved.
Okay, the other items we have to look at before we lose potential quorum, long-term care insurance. This is what we talked about at our last board meeting. I was sent back to take a look at potentially some other options, going up to $250,000 in coverage. In the meantime, I did get a quote from our company for $250,000, and I reached out to the two companies that Jennifer recommended. Both of them needed a minimum of 10 employees in order to get any kind of coverage. We don't have that, so we don't qualify. I did get an option for $250,000 in coverage, and that option is listed here now. Look, this is kind of giving you a breakdown of everything. The nationwide long-term care for $100,000 worth of coverage is no longer available. That's why this is now a moving target. If we wanted to, as a district, fund this for the employees, the costs there, it is about $17,502.36 to fund it all for a $250,000 policy for everyone. That's based on Peggy, Carrie, Tom, myself, Austin, and Jason. This is based on age, health, all that kind of good stuff. So it varies based on that. That amount might go down slightly based on the new staffing since, once Peggy retires, I believe our new recreation supervisor is younger than her. So that might change the amount slightly. It won't change it a ton. But the board did ask me to bring this back. We can simply say to the staff, here's your option. You can either have this deducted or you can purchase your own and bring in proof. Here's an option for you to purchase through the district and be billed out of your paycheck or however we want to work that. Or the board can say we're going to fund a certain amount per person for this. That's up to the board. So this is really a discussion, and if you wanted to do something, approve it. If you as a board don't feel comfortable approving that amount, which I completely understand, this is something that we could just put back to the employees. Matt, I can't hear you. Oh, God, now I can. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I wasn't talking yet. So what is the state timeline that we're on?
This needs to be in place if you're going to have an exemption for an employee. If the employee is taking the exemption, we have to have it in place. They have to be able to provide proof of coverage by the end of October. The problem we are running into is before we could even react, Naomi at J. Johnson Insurance told us basically a week and a half ago that they were taking this option away on Friday because they had so many people applying for it that they have to, they couldn't process the applications quickly enough to get them ready for November 1st. So they wanted to make sure they could do it in time. So that's our timeline, but it's a moving target. It's constantly in flux. I don't know how long this $250,000 option is going to be available. So it's really, if the board just wants us to do it and, have the staff given the option, here's your options. You can either take the Washington State Cares Fund, you can go out and find your own, or you can take one of these. We really need them to the exemption, it's really an employee by employee decision on this. So I'm just offering the board the option to say, we're going to fund this for them or we're not. And it's really, it's turning into a more costly venture than I thought it was.
Yeah, so the actual, and I'm apologize for being not completely familiar with this, but as I understand it, the details of the requirement is that is that an employee has to either have to participate in the Washington Cares Fund or sign an attestation that they have another source of long-term care insurance to
Right.
opt out of the Washington Cares Fund before 1 November.
The payroll tax deduction, it'll come out of their paycheck. So if they opt out, we need to be provided with proof of that so that we then know we don't have to deduct from their payroll.
Got it. Okay. And as part of the discussion last month, and I'm trying to find my notes, do you have an initial feel, Doug, for people's interest in participation in the Washington Cares Fund? That core.
Yeah, I don't have a feel for it. I know what I feel like if I'm given the option, it is. So the difference is this is within the state. It doesn't have a set maximum for month, but it's got a $36,000 maximum lifetime, and there's a $0 death benefit. This is portable. It could follow you to any state. You can continue paying it if you retire, if you move, whatever you do, you can keep this with you. It has $250,000 lifetime with an $8,000 monthly maximum. So I'm looking at this as if I'm going to have to pay for something, I'm going to find something like this where it's portable, I can take it with me, and it's got more of the benefits. This, while it's cheaper, it doesn't really do much for me.
Okay.
So that's my feeling. I don't know what the rest of staff feels.
Okay.
Aren't a lot of entities paying for like half, employee pays for half, and employer pays for half? Or am I wrong about that?
Well, in the actual legislation, it says there's no employer paid portion of the premium. Meaning
Right.
that premium, that the one that Doug shows in the table, is specifically designated as an employee paid premium. The benefit is the expense for the benefit provided. It's a relatively low cost for the size of the benefit. The question that I had and raised last time is the size of the benefit is large in isolation, but relative to the cost of long-term care is not that big. So, the state fund is designed to provide a benefit for the cost that you put into it. But relative to the objective of providing for long-term care, I think it seems like it's relatively small.
We would almost be better served at this point, with this being a moving target, was giving the time for our staff to make their own decision and letting our staff, if they, give them these two options and say, these are the options we found. If you want to find your own option, that's fine. We just need you to, if you're going to opt out, make sure that you do. No, I think there's other benefits that we, will credit it, but we'd all have to find the same coverage. So I think it's really kind of difficult for us to find a one-size-fits-all solution to this, because it's not one-size-fits-all. I would recommend just putting this on the employees to make the decision, letting me go back to them, talk to them, and give them the options.
Yeah, and to me, I think that you're right. I think the most logistically to follow the requirements of the legislation is relatively straightforward. We just say we'll adhere to the Washington Cares for the Long-Term Services and Support Trust Act and begin the deductions for all employees who do not opt out, and provide the documentation. There's an exemption form, I'm sure, waiver form. So
yeah, we'll go through that with all the employees and make sure they're aware of it, and I'll talk to each of them individually and get all that set up come September.
Yeah, so our requirement then is that we would, effective with the first pay period in November, we would remit those. We would institute that.
No, the state is not collecting it until January 1.
Oh, they aren't?
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Yeah, it would be January 1. It would be effective January 1 for deductions, but you have to have cleared it by November 1st.
And it's January 1, 2022?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay.
Is that?
And since the exemption requirement is to process and be granted an exemption by December 31st of 2022, do you have to, for employees who've opted out and requested an exemption, do you still have to withhold for the entire year of 2022 in case the exemption is denied?
That's something that's logistical that we'll look into on our end. That's more of our process. This has been a very, very quick thing that we've had to flex and deal with. So we're gonna have to look at that. Carrie and I will have to sit down next month and really dig into it deeply to make sure we're following the regulations. And when they set this up in July, they really didn't have a process for how to do it. So this has been on the fly learning, and we're getting close, but I don't have all the answers yet. I just like to get the staff portion where they get the information they need to make the decision they need to make, and then we can, as a staff, follow up on that and make sure we're dotting.
Yeah, I mean, that's now my feeling. I think we should adhere to your pre-recommendation. I think we should adhere to the requirements of the legislation effective the November 1st date or the January 1st collection date.
Okay. So unless there's some other direction that the board wants to go, we can move on to the next item.
Moving on.
Okay, social media archiving discussion. Eric, are you still there? I just want to make sure.
I'm here and in agreement.
Okay. Social media archiving. This is something that has come up. It came up about a year and a half ago, and then we started getting into COVID, and it kind of slipped off the desk. And I had a call about 2 weeks ago from Archive Social. What this is public records request compliance. If we get a public records request for anything on our social media streams, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, our YouTube, where we have our board meetings, live streams put up there as well. This is a little tricky because somebody can comment on a Facebook post and then delete their own comment, and we have no control over that. So these sites actually archive the data and provide an archive of all of that data, including what was posted when, who posted it, and if it was deleted, it's got a deleted items log, so all of these things. So I talked to Archive Social about it, and then got 2 other companies that potentially offer similar type services, and got all 3 of them, and got numbers for what we currently have. Based on that, I would like to recommend. We had 3 quotes. Archive Social was $2,988 a year. That's for up to 12 active accounts and unlimited archived accounts. So if we were to close out a Facebook page, like we no longer wanted, for example, the triathlon page, we wanted to just incorporate it into our main page. Not that we want to do that, I'm just saying, for example. That does not count as an active. That would be an archived account, and there's unlimited those. The active accounts up to 12. Archive Social is live monitoring, which means somebody posts it, they collect it. Somebody deletes it, they collect it. It is real-time monitoring. That comes out to about $249 a month. Page Freezer was another one. They're about $2,388 a year. There's a setup charge there of $250, and they allow up to 10 active accounts. They're about $238.80 per account, so per Facebook page, but they are API monitoring, which pulls our user accounts every 8 to 10 minutes. So if somebody posts something and then deletes it after 5 minutes because somebody complains about it, we might miss it. So that's the difference between the live monitoring and the API, which is the other two. Smarsh was $2,000. It was the cheapest. It was a $700 setup. Allows about 10 accounts, up to 10 accounts at that fee, and it's $200 per account. My recommendation in looking at these would be to go with that Archive Social. It is the same social media monitoring service that the school district uses. This is really kind of a concern to me. We do have people that do public records requests, and there are people out there that do public records requests as a way to fund themselves. They will put in a public records request, and then if you can't provide it in a timely fashion with all the information, they sue you for it, and you're liable for it. So we want to make sure that we're able to comply. The difference in cost is less than $1,000 per year on these all three of these, and I just think that the monitoring abilities and the ability to capture everything pretty much live is worth the extra, $900 a month or a year. But so staff would recommend Archive Social and starting that up as soon as we can.
Are there any other questions for Doug? Thank you for that thorough presentation.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great idea, and I support the recommendation.
Okay. Eric, anything from you?
Yeah, I would support it as well. I think it's money well spent. In the comparison that you made, I would go with what's being represented.
Okay. I will entertain a motion then.
I'd make a motion to initiate the social media tracking system using Archive Social.
I'll second that motion.
Okay. It has been moved and seconded to proceed with the social media tracking using Archive Social. All those in favor say aye.
Eric, aye.
Matt, aye.
Jennifer, aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes have it and the motion's passed.
Okay, we've got
Moving on to financial institution updates.
yes. So something that you would have heard of in my staff report, we have hired now our new recreation supervisor, who will be starting on September 8th. So Sky Dunn was formerly our basketball coordinator about 3 or 4 years ago, Carrie. I'm not exactly sure how many years, but he applied for the position, interviewed extremely well. We really like him as a fit for the position as well as with the staff. So we have offered him the position. He has accepted. We're really excited about that. But with all of that, and with Peggy leaving at the end of this month, we need to make some changes. Those changes require a board motion and then a copy of the minutes signed by either the secretary or the chair. Now, since the secretary is not here at this meeting, Jennifer, that means that when we get the minutes done, you're going to have to sign a copy of those so we can take it to the bank and say, that's done, okay? So what we would be doing would be removing Peggy from the bank account, payroll, and credit cards. It would be adding Carrie to the bank account for payroll and any other accounts that needs to be, and so that Sky could be put on as a credit card user. Those are the three things we'd be doing. We just need a motion, a second, and then a vote to approve, and then we'll go from there and add that going on forward. Did I miss anything, Peggy?
No, you got it all.
Look at that.
Motion, do we Peggy's last name and Carrie's last name?
Peggy Nelson, Carrie Monfort. But I don't think you really need that.
I'll make a motion to take necessary financial make necessary financial transaction changes to replace Peggy Nelson with Carrie Monfort and add Sky Dunn for purposes of park financial transactions.
I will second that motion.
I would like a point of clarification, please, Doug. do we need to be specific, like it is on the memo, about what we are specifically removing Peggy from and adding Carrie and Sky to?
Peggy, do we need to be specific?
I think we need to be specific about adding Carrie to the bank account, yes.
Okay.
Okay, so Doug, or excuse me, Matt, if you have the memo,
I'll amend.
we could go with that verbiage.
I don't, since I've dialed in on my phone, so I can, but I can, if it's just to add
So
carry to the bank account and carry to the payroll system, is that correct, Peggy?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so I'll amend my motion to say, replace Peggy Nelson with Carrie Montfort on the district bank account and payroll system, and add Sky Dunn to the district credit card.
Well done, Matt. I will second that motion.
Okay.
So I'm sorry, I'm gonna ask one more point of clarification. So in the memo, it says that we're just adding Carrie to the bank account for payroll. What about credit cards?
Carrie's already on the count for credit cards because she's got her own credit card already.
Thank you. Okay. Appreciate that. Okay, moved and seconded that we proceed with removing Peggy Nelson from the bank.
Okay, I have one more item that is going to require board approval. As everybody here knows, this is Peggy Nelson's last meeting with us. Now, I know Peggy does not want a big deal made, so I'm not gonna try and embarrass her in any way or do anything silly. But we did write up a proclamation, and I wanted to have that recorded and voted on by the board. Staff has put together some gifts for her on my screen over here. Weird. So I can read through it. So South Whidbey Parks and Recreation District proclamation honoring business manager Peggy Nelson upon her retirement. Whereas on April 10th, 2006, Peggy Nelson began her service as business manager for the South Whidbey Parks and Recreation District. And whereas Peggy has been instrumental in helping the District Board of Commissioners and other district staff in providing high quality parks, facilities, and recreation programs for the citizens of South Whidbey Island. And whereas Peggy's most noteworthy accomplishments in a career of service of the staff of the South Whidbey Parks and Recreation District and the citizens of the South Whidbey Island include successfully chevroning the district through 7 financial and business system audits by the State Auditor's Office with no negative findings, developing robust business systems and processes that resulted in the district's Standard & Poor's bond rating rising to AA-, working tirelessly in efforts to support and secure 4 successful maintenance and operation levies and 2 successful bond issues, yielding...
This conference will now be recorded.
Well, I hope it was recorded before. Yielding significant and lasting improvements to park programs and facilities. Supporting the district's financial efforts in all projects of significance, including bond-funded capital improvements to the soccer complex, community park, and the castle playground, the acquisition and development of the Trustline Trails property, now the site of the only ADA accessible trail system in Island County, the acquisition and development of the campground property after the sudden closure of the campground at South Whidbey State Park, the acquisition of Max Walton Trails Park to significantly extend the community park's trail system. Whereas in good times and in difficult times, Peggy has dealt with a diverse range of people in and out of the district office and provided courteous and comprehensive help to members of the public, district commissioners, and fellow district staff, and has always been patient and understanding. And whereas she has distinguished herself as a hard-working and dedicated public servant at all times, committed to helping her community and handling the district's finances diligently, accurately, and with a sense of fairness. And whereas her colleagues know her as a steady, dependable coworker and friend who takes pride in her work and in this community, and who is always ready to lend a helping hand or moral support when needed. Now, therefore, it be resolved that we, the Board of Commissioners and staff of the South Whidbey Parks and Recreation District, do hereby express our sincere appreciation and gratitude for Ms. Nelson's dedication and commitment to the citizens of South Whidbey Island, and congratulate her on the occasion of her retirement from the South Whidbey Parks and Recreation District, wishing her the best and continued success in her retirement and future endeavors. In witness whereof, we have hereunto set our hands this 18th day of August, 2021. And it has spots for all of our commissioners and staff to sign. This is a proclamation. This would require a board approval, so an approval of the proclamation, a second, and a vote. And I, as the head of staff, wholeheartedly recommend this proclamation to the board.
I would entertain a motion.
I will gladly make a motion that we approve the SWPRD Parks and Recreation District proclamation honoring business manager Peggy Nelson upon her retirement, as read by our director.
I happily second that motion.
Thank you, Eric. It has been moved and seconded to approve the SWPRD Parks and Recreation District proclamation honoring business manager Peggy Nelson upon her retirement, as read by our director. All those in favor say aye.
Eric, aye.
Matt, aye.
Jennifer, aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes have it, and motion passes. Congratulations, Peggy.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations. Real life.
I'm going to add my eye in. Thank you very much, Peggy, for taking care of me for 8 years. I appreciate it.
It's been my pleasure, and I just wanted to say it's been my pleasure to work for the park for 15 years. And I wanted to thank all of you commissioners who have volunteered your time to the community. Without your support, I would not have even had a job. So I really appreciate all that you've done. And I wrote this little speech here, and it's almost like everything I wrote is in this proclamation. So I'm still going to read it, but so when I started working for the district, we were just taking ownership of Trestland Trails. So over the years, I've seen the district grow to maintaining the lakes and buying properties for campground and trails, while still taking meticulous care of community park and the sports complex. Additionally, our recreation programs have multiplied, and the office has worked together to take on new challenges to operate the park district more efficiently. We all take pride in what we do to make this district the best run district, and I'm just glad to have been a part of it. So I will miss all of you, and I hope to be able to visit frequently, just not in the middle of winter. So thank you so much. I really do appreciate this proclamation. It means a lot to me.
Peggy, you are awesome, and I wanted to add that you did this all while stepping in your office, which is absolutely phenomenal. So.
That is so true.
Kudos to you.
Yeah, well, somebody told me I've walked around the world by now, so.
Well,
we will miss you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and I'll just say, like it was mentioned in the proclamation, but I mean, you've been the face of the district for a long time, right? The people who come to seek something from us almost always come in contact with you, and we have the time and the energy to focus on that person and their need and address their need in a way that made them feel good about it, that made them feel good about the parks. And that's what, it's that kind of thing day in and day out that I think sustains the park system, because if people have a less friendly experience and feel less welcome, then, you know, we don't have the public support we do, and we don't have the chance to do things like expand programs, expand facilities. So that to me that's your greatest contribution, and I don't think we could have had anyone who did it to the level that you did over that 15-year period. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks very much, Matt. That's very sweet. And I know Carrie's going to do just fine in that role. So I have full faith in her. But thank you.
So, yeah, I don't want to belabor the point. I know I truly appreciate everything that Peggy has done throughout the time that I've worked with her, and it is an honor to have spent 8 years with you, Peggy. I wasn't there for the full 15, but I truly enjoyed the last 8 with you. So thank you very much. All the best wishes to you and your future endeavors, and I'll see you on Monday, and we'll have some stuff for you that you can use in your future, and hopefully you'll be back to visit us in the summer months. You know, maybe even volunteering at the triathlon. Who knows?
Not likely, no. But thanks for the offer.
Okay.
Yeah, I heard Carrie needs a new director at the lake, so you know.
Not even.
All right. Thank you. Okay, so that was everything that we had to get done tonight. There's a couple of things that we have not talked about, and we've now, now that we're through that, we can just kind of go back and hit those items. We do have the minutes. Did we approve the minutes? I don't remember if we did that.
We did not. I was going to mention that we probably should do that.
Okay, so let's approve the minutes.
Has every commissioner reviewed the minutes? Are there any questions or changes?
Yeah, I have none. If Eric doesn't have any, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Guess that's the motion. I have no questions. It's fine.
Could you second that, Eric?
I will second that motion.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the minutes from the July 2021 meeting. All those in favor say aye.
Eric, aye.
Matt, aye.
Jennifer, aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes have it and the motion passes.
Okay,
All
so
right.
going back through, treasurer's report will be next. We did vouchers already, so just treasurer's report. Can you see?
Now pull it up.
It's up. Can you see it?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay.
Okay, so summary report shows the trend continues of month to month improving favorability to plan. 24,000 ahead of budget. You see it slightly down. Cumulative, the blue line is cumulative to the year, slightly down from June. And then you see on the expense side, 119,000 in of that 143 favorability spread across expenses. You see programs in the dark, and capital purchase in the other light green bar. The last slide is the fund balances. And you'll see that they're on plan as of the end of July. Any questions on any of the detail? Okay.
Thanks, Matt. All right, we'll move on to the staff report.
Okay, staff report. Well, we had a lot of full programs in late July, August. We do have coming up some other programs you can see here. Summer registration, youth programs filled to capacity for the most part. Loss or refunds were processed for various reasons. Triathlon was a solid event. The numbers were down by approximately a third. It made for a more low-key and less crowded event. Great volunteer support, especially amongst the triathlon committee. I would say it was very smooth. We did not have any issues that I'm aware of, and the group got everything done as quickly as possible. There's always some tweaks we can make for next year, and we'll look at those, and we'll sit down with Sky once he's on board and kind of start talking for next year what we're going to do. So that's the programs area. Facilities and grounds. Irrigation issues continuing as we have to repair sprinkler heads and go through. We had a pump issue this month as well. Got through the triathlon with a tough week and a half. We have a small staff, so the things that we do it's a lot to have an event that way, and our staff did an incredible job. Backflow preventers were tested, and we'll provide that report. Got a price on new kiosk entry point signs. I'm going to show you those in a second. and we will be implementing those. I just wanted to show them to you ahead of time. And we're beginning to top dress and then pre-fall field work as time permits, and that will continue through September. We posted and announced, I announced earlier that we have hired Sky Dunn, who will start on September 8th as our recreation supervisor. So we will be down a staff member when Peggy leaves at the end of August, and back up to full staff by September 8th. Started on the compensation study. We've had 3 meetings already with 3 other districts, and I'm looking to schedule the rest of those end of this month, beginning of next. So hopefully we'll have more information for the September board meeting. Met with key community people on the amphitheater project and started an action list to get ready for the 2020 grant cycles, and was busy with the triathlon, but things went off smoothly. Big thank you to staff and big thank you to volunteers for all of their efforts at the triathlon. It was a great event. Any questions on that staff report? Hearing none. Comprehensive plan.
Move on to unfinished.
Go ahead.
Yeah, moving on to comp plan. Go for it.
Comprehensive plan, campground. Davido has attached our water capacity analysis to the small water system management plan and made sure it was included in the submittal to the state. Include the option of using the existing doghouse building. The one question they had, which I'll ask the board to kind of weigh in on, I had my opinion, but he asked if we were replacing the bathroom closest to the entrance or the one farther out in the park.
My connection's kind of spotty here, but what is the 2 different locations? You said one's closer and one's further away.
So the entrance to the park, we had put a building at the entrance to the park, and then there was a second bathroom building that was in the first septic plan that was farther back into the campground. The question is, which one of those 2 buildings would the doghouse bathroom shower facility replace? And my thought was the one closer to the entrance because it's closer to that site.
I understand now. Got it. Gotcha. I'm with you. Okay.
Is there?
I would agree.
Yeah, it makes sense to me.
Okay. All right. And I see Jennifer nodding.
I remember correctly, that second one was on the hillside as well.
It was up. Yeah.
You know, a pretty forested area.
Yep.
Yeah.
See, we're just looking at getting the study, the survey of where the easement is exactly, so that we map it appropriately. And then I also want to mark that out and looking at getting it surveyed so that we can do the flagging of the trail in correctly and make sure we're following on the easement. I did have contact with the county on that, and my process is going to be trying to get TMI or somebody to survey it, then have our staff in September, late September, possibly early October as time allows, flag that out, then have county and state forest reapproval when we know for sure that we're not going to have to take any trees out, have them come out and kind of go, yes, you're good. Get whatever permits we need to get going so that we can do that in November, December this year. So that's the process on that. I had a good meeting with amphitheater folks. These were South Whitby, Rotary Club of South Whitby people, as well as some additional people, including Eric Richmond at Flat Rock Productions, Jack Ing, Jean-Marc Jewis, and Mark Schuster. Sat down, talked through what we needed to do. We needed to resolve the terracing of the audience area in the plans, come up with other options and ideas. Talked about the idea of, instead of it being terraced with hardscape, maybe it's just softscapes and slight sloped terracing, where we can actually drive a mower up and down it, so we're not having the maintenance is not an issue. We're just looking at options, and we'll work that out with staff so that we're looking. The big key is that we are able to easily maintain it with our small staff. And then we also talked about location of a sound control station. There was talk of a brick or a plaque fundraiser idea, a contractor outreach event to kind of see if we can get contractors to donate either time or materials or something for the project. Presentations to both Rotary clubs will happen in October. I will be working on getting that done. I have one scheduled. I think I have both scheduled now, so they're on my calendar. And then work on costing construction once the design is finalized. So the basic design has stayed the same for the actual shell and the shelter. The real question is that terracing and what we do with that. And whatever we come up with would bring back to the board for a final approval before any design was moved forward on. Mark Schuster was going to contact. He had a contact that is a sound engineer, and he was going to contact a sound person to discuss what kind of power needs we would have for, to be able to handle sound equipment at the shell and lighting. So whether that's 100 amp, 200 amp, or 3-phase. And I will be reaching out to PSE to start conversations about the costing of bringing power to the facility, and then talking with Tom and other staff potentially about whether we can provide the trenching aspect of that at that time. And then once we get that all kind of a little bit more settled, bringing together a larger committee in the fall when school is back in session, and stakeholders and commissioners, and look at the concept and start getting public input and comments recorded for the grant application. So that's kind of where that went this month. That was a really good meeting. Any other questions or comments on comprehensive plans?
What's right now our estimate of the total construction cost?
Roughly, we don't really have one. We're looking, I think, in conversations we've had, we're looking between $250,000 and $300,000 total.
Okay.
But that's very rough. That's a way rough order of magnitude, because we really don't even have a finalized design yet, and a lot of that's going to depend on what the finalized design is. Okay, but we
just real quick, moving down the line, I'd really like to be involved in these meetings. I just think we've got so much infrastructure that really aren't being brought up, that the month before we're moving forward with design, it's nice to have input.
Okay. Any other comments? Wanted to show on the staff report, and it'll come up here in a second on your screen. Little monument signs with the map of the park. Carrie redid this design and drew it up. We're going to order these and put these in place. They're a couple hundred each, but it will update to include the actual trails that are currently. Make sure I brought up at the meeting today.